guys, it's Molly. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm be doing a book haul for you guys. I know it's been a long time since I've uploaded a video, but I figured since we're in quarantine, what else is there to do? So I've been spending a lot of time during quarantine reading books, which is great, but not great for my wallet because I placed a huge book outlet order at the beginning of like all of this, you know, this whole quarantine and coronavirus and everything. So it was before and it just got here. And I also have a book of the month book that I want to show you guys that I got. I have a lot of books here that I got to get through, so let's just get started. So I'm going to show you guys my book of the month first. I just subscribed to book of the month last month, so this is my second month of book of the month, and so far I am really enjoying it. It's $15.99 a month, and you get to pick a hardback new release book. They usually have 5 books that you can choose from. If you don't like what they're offering that month, you can choose to skip that month and your credit rolls over to the next month, which is really great. They also offer add-ons, so you can add on any past book of the month that they had just for, I think it's $9.99, and you can add up to 2 add-ons. So my first month of book of the month I did do an add-on, but this month I chose not to because I'm trying to save a little bit of money. So anyways, the book that I chose this month was Beach Read by Emily Henry. Basically what this book is about is there are 2 authors, what are their names? Augustus and January. So Augustus and January are 2 authors. Augustus writes literary fiction and January is a romance author. And they're both on this beach for the next 3 months, just, you know, trying to finish writing their stories. But they both get writer's block and they decide to switch what they write. So January is going to start writing literary fiction and Augustus is going to start writing romance. And I'm just really excited to read this because it is starting to get a little warmer out, so which, you know, reminds me of the beach, and it's a romance, obviously, because who's not going to fall in love with someone when they're next to each other on the beach writing what they normally write? So hello, duh. Okay, the sun is starting to set, so I'm going to try and go through this really fast before I run out of the little bit of light that I have. So the first 2 books I have are both by Sally Thorne, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard these books. We have The Hating Game and 99% Mine. So The Hating Game is about Lucy and Joshua, and this is pretty much like an office romance. So they're both trying to get this was it the assistant to this co-CEO like position, and they hate each other, hence the name The Hating Game. But obviously they don't hate each other that much if this is going to be a romance. But I'm super excited to read this because a lot of people say that this is a really good like hate to love book, and I've never read anything by Sally Thorne, so I'm really excited to read that. And then 99% Mine, I'm a little hesitant only because a lot of people said it wasn't as good as The Hating Game. A lot of people were kind of like let down about it. So 99% Mine is about Darcy and her sister Jamie. So they inherit a cottage from their grandma, and Darcy is pretty much in love with her sister's best friend, but she obviously isn't going to do anything because it's her sister's best friend, and she's always told her sister, like, I won't do anything, I won't be with him, yada yada yada. But then he comes along and helps them renovate the cottage, and you know what goes from there. There's gonna be a romance. So yeah, so I'm excited to read that. And also I have to tell you how much these were. So The Hating Game was $5.51 and 99% Mine was $6.45. The next book I have is The Distance Between Us by Casey West. I really enjoy Casey West and her style of writing. She does normally write like YA. So this is about Cayman and Xander. So pretty much Cayman, since she's been growing up, has been told like the rich are just not to be trusted. They are not good people and just to stay away from them. But Xander is a rich boy and she's trying not to be swooned by him and his riches. But then as they're getting close, she finds out that money is sort of a problem, and she just doesn't know if it's a relationship that she wants to continue. So I'm really excited to read this. I have a good chunk of Casey West's books on my bookshelf. You probably can't tell because I've turned around the books that I have read, and I've got a lot of books that I still need to read, and I'm just adding more to it. So this was $4.15, and it normally sells for $9.99. The next story I have is Dream Things True by Marie Marquardt. I'm not really sure how to say her last name, but this is a modern day take on Romeo and Juliet, almost, kind of. This is about Evan and Alma, and they pretty much have grown up together in the same town. He is, I believe, the senator's son. Yes, he's the nephew of a senator. And Alma is Mexican, and they pretty much develop a romantic relationship, but then immigration and customs begins raiding their town, and it turns out Alma and her family are actually immigrants. So Alma has to pretty much tell, what's his name? Evan. Let Evan know, like, you know, she's an immigrant, her whole family's an immigrant, and you know, the story pretty much just follows them and how they get through that. So I'm really excited to read that. I haven't read any types of romances that are like this. Well, actually any kind of books that follow like immigration representation, I guess is what you would say. So I'm excited to read this. It looks like it'll be like a quick read. This was $3.73 and it is selling for $10.99. Okay, sorry for the lighting change. The sun was just setting way too much and I needed some light for y'all to see. So sorry if there's a glare. I really am not the best at figuring out how to not have that there. But the next book we have is When Dimple Met Rishi by Sandhya Menon. I'm so sorry. I'm like really bad with names. But this is basically about an arranged marriage between Dimple and Rishi. So they're both attending the same summer program for aspiring web designers, and their parents just kind of figured since they're aspiring to be have the same career, and I think they might have known each other since they were like kids or something. The parents just decided, let's see if they could be together romantically and have an arranged marriage. So I know that this is kind of not a popular book on BookTube, but a lot of people have read this book, and I saw it was on Book Outlet and I was like, there's no wrong in trying it out. And it sounds like a really good book. I've never read anything like about arranged marriages or like Indian culture or anything, so I'm very excited to dive into this. And let me tell you how much I paid for it. So I paid $4.15 for this, and it retails for $11.99. Continuing with that same author, I got There's Something About Sweetie, and I am very excited to read this because it kind of is about a girl named Sweetie, and she is, I'm pretty sure she's overweight. Oh, okay, so this is actually also an arranged marriage between Sweetie and Ashish. I'm sorry if I said that name wrong. So Ashish just broke up with his girlfriend, and his family tell him pretty much that they think that they could find a better match for him, which is going to be Sweetie. And so I think she's Indian American, and under contract they can pretty much be together, I guess. So, but he has to take her on like fun dates and like visit this Hindu temple and stuff. But Sweetie is overweight, and she feels that her parents think that she's lacking because she's overweight, and she just wants to prove that because she's fat it doesn't mean anything. And they pretty much go on dates and they're gonna fall in love, and I'm very excited to read this because I have been overweight like a lot of my life. I have lost weight recently, so I just like reading books about where like the main character and the heroine is overweight because I can relate to that. So, and actually one of my favorite books is called Artichoke's Heart, which I love that book. It's such like YA, but I love it so much. I like totally recommend that. But anyway, this is not about that. This is about Sweetie. So yeah, so let me tell you how much I paid for this book. So I paid $4.88 for this, and it retails for $18.99, and this is a hardback, so $4 for a hardback is pretty dang good if you ask me. I got from Twinkle with Love by her, and I guess she also came out with another book. I can't remember what it's called, but I'm excited to read this one as well. So this is about Twinkle, and she is an aspiring filmmaker, and she is asked to work on this movie with, I think it was his name, Sahil Roy, and he is directing a movie for a festival, and she is happy because she gets to work on a movie and she gets to work closer with her crush Neil Roy, which is actually Sahil's twin brother. But then she starts getting emails from a mystery man. He goes by N, and she thinks it's Neil, and so she's, you know, writing back to him, but then she starts falling in love with Sahil, which is the twin brother, and I guess this follows obviously the story between her and the other two, and through this, like, the story is told through the letters that Twinkle writes. So I'm really excited to read this one. I paid $4.15 for this, and this retails for $11.99 if you buy it brand new. So the next book I have is Windfall by Jennifer E. Smith. This oh, apparently it came from Walmart. But this is about Alice and Teddy. So Alice has had the biggest crush on Teddy forever, and she decides to jokingly get him a lottery ticket for his birthday, and he wins $140 million. And so she thinks it's the luckiest thing ever, but then Teddy gets swept up in his winnings, and fame and fortune starts to come between them. So she starts wondering, you know, if the good fortune was actually good, because it's coming between her relationship with Teddy, and obviously she doesn't want that because she's been crushing on him for a while. So apparently it was selling at Walmart for $7.68, but if you buy this brand new, it's $10.99. But I only paid $2.16 for this book. The next book I have is Second Chance Summer by Morgan Matson, and this is going to be my first Morgan Matson book because I've never read anything by him. Is it a him? Or she? I'm not sure. But this book follows Taylor, and she gets news from her dad that are unexpected and terrible. I'm not sure what they are, but that's all it says on the back. And so she and her family decide to have one last summer together and go back to their old lake house in the Poconos. And there is a family that she has grown up with. It has her former best friend Lucy and her first crush Henry, and I think they pretty much just like rekindle their friendship, and she starts to like Henry again, but summer is starting to come to an end, and she's gonna have to go back to reality, and she's running out of time and making the most of her second chance. So yeah, so I'm super excited to read. I also want to know like what is the news, because it's very vague in the synopsis here, so I'm not sure what it's gonna be. But so this retails for $10.99, and I paid $3.05. The next book I have is Emergency Contact by Mary H.K. Choi. This is another book that is very popular on BookTube. You either like this book or you don't like it. I've heard very mixed reviews, but I'm excited to try it out. I also love the cover, and I love how he has like tattoos. That's very attractive. Anyway, so this is about Penny and Sam. So Penny is going to college in Austin, Texas, and she wants to become a writer. And Sam works in a cafe. It seems like he lives there as well, but he wants to become a movie director. And somehow Sam and Penny cross paths and end up exchanging phone numbers, and they pretty much become each other's emergency contact. They're talking to each other all the time about their anxieties and their secrets and stuff. And they don't really see each other, obviously. So I'm excited to check this out. It looks like it's told in each of their perspectives. Like each chapter is either Penny or it's Sam, and you also like see the texts from them. So I'm excited to read this and see if it's something that I like. And I also love that like emergency contact is like in gold. I really like that. So anyway, this retails for $10.99. I only paid $4.66 for this. The next book I have is 7 Days of You by Cecilia Vaness, and this is about Sophia. And so she has 7 days left in Tokyo before she goes back to the United States. And so she has 7 days to say goodbye to the city and all of her friends, the boy that she has a crush on, until Jamie comes back into town. And so Sophia and Jamie apparently have a history of heartbreak, apparently, is what the synopsis says. And she doesn't want him stealing her thunder of leaving with his thunder of arriving. So she's got 7 days to pretty much make her mark. But you know, throughout the 7 days, she probably is going to start developing a crush back on Jamie. Because duh, why not? But this retails for $10.99, and I got it on Book Outlet for $2.16. The next book I have is You by Caroline Kepnes, and this is what started, or what the Netflix series You is based on, is this book. And I have watched both seasons of You, and I really did like it, so I decided why not pick up the book because it was on Book Outlet, and give it a try. So obviously we know what this is about. It's about Joe Goldberg, and he meets Beck, and you know what happens. He goes psycho and loves her a lot. You know the gist. But obviously the book and the series are going to have differences, so I want to read this and see what they are. I'm pretty sure there is a second book to this. I mean, there has to be because there's a second season, right? That could be wrong. But yeah, so I'm very excited to read this. And I've never read, I think this is considered a thriller. I don't really read a lot of other things besides romance, but I am wanting to branch out. I have like past Book Outlet orders on here of like some fantasy and stuff that I haven't gotten to. So yeah, I want to branch out, which is why I bought there's like 2 other books in here that are a little out of my comfort zone. So yeah, like I enjoy watching scary movies and stuff, so I don't know why I wouldn't want to read about it. I don't know. But yeah, so I got this, and so yeah, it retails for $17, and I only paid $6.75 for it, so that's awesome. The next book I have is Before by Anna Todd. I love the After series. I've actually only read the first 2 books. I do own the 3rd book, but I just haven't gotten around to reading it, and then there is one more book after that. But this is Before, and it's told in Hardin's perspective, so I'm excited to see that it is significantly like thinner than what After is. But I'm excited to read it, but I'm not going to be able to read it until I read the rest of the series, which I didn't even think about that when I bought this. But either way, I am excited to own this and getting around to reading it once I finish the After series, which I don't know why I haven't finished it because I did really like After and the second book. So yeah, but this retails for $16.99, and I only paid $4.15 for this. The next book I have is 9 Days and 9 Nights by Katie Cotugno. It is the next book it's a sequel to 99 Days, and I just read 99 Days about a month ago, so I am gonna have to refresh my brain on what that's about. But this is the sequel to that book, and it's about Molly Barlow, which she has the same name as me, and she goes on a dream vacation to Europe, and over the course of 99 days she meets this boy named Ian, it looks like, and I guess he tells her he loves her. I don't really know much about this, so as you can clearly tell, but it is the sequel, and I did read the first book, so I was like, why not pick up the second book and read it. So anyway, this retails for $9.99, and I paid $3.52 for this. So the next 3 books I got are all by Christine Conrad, and I think that this is a series, but I don't think it's one that you have to read in order. I think it's one of the, like, a companion series, if that makes sense. So these are the books that I was talking about that are, like, outside of my comfort zone. So we have Pregnant at 17, Missing at 17, and Murdered at 17. I've never read any books about murder or someone going missing or about somebody being pregnant. So these are all 3 books that are outside of my comfort zone. So let's see. Pregnant at 17. So I'm not really all that sure what this is about. It says 17-year-old Chelsea doesn't go looking for trouble, but somehow always manages to find her. I guess she testified against a man, and he's getting out of prison. So I'm not sure if this is about, like, rape, that she was raped, and that's, like, who the man she testified about. I'm not sure. But then she finds out she's pregnant, and she meets this woman named Sonia, who she thinks is really nice and generous, and she talks to her all the time, but then she turns out to not be who she thinks she is. I'm not really sure. This is definitely out of my comfort zone and something that I don't normally read, and apparently it says as seen on Lifetime. I guess all 3 of these are Lifetime movies, which I would watch after reading these, if that is a thing. But yeah, and it's like pretty big font, so I think I could read these pretty quickly, which I'm excited about because I do really want to expand the books that I read. So I'm excited to read this. This one retailed for $9.99, and I paid $2.16 for this one. Missing at 17. It says for most of Candace's life, she's never felt like she completely belonged. So I think this is about, it's about this girl named Candace, and I'm assuming she's adopted because it says that her parents have been concealing the truth about who she is and where she came from. So that kind of just makes you believe that she was adopted. So she runs away, and she meets this guy named Toby, and I'm assuming she starts a romance with him, but he has, whatever he does is illegal, and she's trying to discover who she is and who she can rely on, I guess. Again, I'm not really sure, but it is something that I want to try and read. So this was $9.99, and I think it was also, yeah, so this was also $2.16. Oh no, sorry, this one was $1.94. And see, this one says book 1 on Book Outlet, so I'm assuming there is a way to read these in order, but I don't think you necessarily have to. And then Murdered at 17, definitely the one that I'm most, like, not really sure, like, definitely out of my comfort zone. It says pretty and popular 17-year-old Brooke Emerson is the envy of her classmates and even some of her closest friends. Oh, okay, so this is about Brooke, and she got an injury doing a cheerleading stunt a year ago, and she just suffers from a disorder that makes her very, like, violent, and so she meets this guy named Jake, and she thinks that she found someone who really understands her, but then her best friend is murdered, and for some reason she thinks that Jake is the one who murdered her. So this is going to be interesting. Definitely something out of my comfort zone and not something that I normally read, but I am really excited to step out of my comfort zone and try some of the books that I wouldn't normally read. So that is exactly why I picked this up, and this one was retails for $9.99. I got it for $2.16. And that's everything that I got from Book Outlet. I'm gonna have my Goodreads account linked down below so you guys can follow me on Goodreads if you'd like. I just made that account as well, so there's not a lot of books on there that I've reviewed, but what can you do when you just made the account? And I will also have, I think I can have a referral link to Book Outlet if you want to use that link. If not, I'll just have a link to the regular website if you want to place an order on there, because again, the books are really cheap, and as you can tell, they're really nice. The only reason they're really cheap is because they all have, like, some type of mark on them, but it's always on, like, not the actual pages, like, it's down here. That's the only reason that makes them really cheap. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm very glad to be back on YouTube and also diving into the BookTube world because, as you can tell, I have an entire bookshelf full of books and I really enjoy reading. So I'm excited to be back, and I hope that you guys welcome me in the BookTube community because I really like this community and I really like reading and just escaping from reality for a little bit. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!
We'll be right back.